I pray like it's up to God. I work like it's up to me. I woke up this morning, that means God's not done with me.
Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Hammer and Hype.
I'm Tyler. I'm the Hammer.
I'm Will. I'm the Hype.
Brought to you by Platinum Roofing Services. You deserve more than just a roof.
Very exciting. So, speaking on that, I want to talk to people because we have had some recent hailstorms in our local area, and a lot of people have had a lot of questions on how to file a claim and what some of these rules are. So I thought today would be a good day to kind of bring that up and start touching some of the subjects. What is one thing that you would want to share with the audience of how to start their claim process? Is there any rules or regulations you think they need to know?
Well, the first rule is the 12-month rule. You have 12 months from the date of the storm to actually file a claim.
Very good.
It used to be 4 years. They've since changed that.
They changed that a couple of years ago, which a lot of our homeowners are getting caught not realizing you have 12 months from that storm date. And that's why it's so important for you to call within 24 hours of that date to file your claim. That way you know what that date is, and it lets the carrier know that you've had a storm. And a lot of your homeowners insurance carriers have some restrictions on how soon you need to call them as well after the storm. If you wait 11 months, they're going to question your claim a lot more.
Yeah. The sooner the better. You do have 12 months to file the claim, but the sooner the better.
Yeah, give them a call, find out what they can do for you and what their rules are. The other thing I like to point out as well is after a storm, a lot of times you do have some store damage that may have some leaks and some casualty items. And some of it has a rider in your policy that they will cover tarping. And you won't know that unless you give them a call and let them know that something has happened. And you can also call them before any storms happen and say, hey, what does my policy say? Let's say we have 100-mile-an-hour winds, I lose some shingles, and I have a drip on my ceiling. Is that something that you guys cover, or do I have to pay that out of pocket? Or do you have an in-house program? Some carriers have an in-house program where they send out their own roofers to go ahead and tarp that roof for you. It's in their best interest to stop the leak because that's going to spread your claim the longer that leaks. So you're going to have, ceiling damage, wall damage, base molding, flooring, other items that are going to happen because you're not taking care of that immediately. So most carriers are going to help you get that tarp on as soon as possible.
Yeah. And I will say, I get this a lot, and I have in my career. A lot of times when I'm dealing with a customer that's working through a claim, they've never filed a claim before. So they're like totally in the dark of what to do. So I kind of want to explain the bullet points of what happens during a claim. So the first thing you want to do is you want to file the claim. Filing a claim is as easy as calling your insurance carrier, letting them know that you just had a storm. And what they're going to do is they're going to go ahead and file the claim for you. You're then going to get a call from an adjuster who's going to schedule a day and time to come out and take a look at your roof. That adjuster is then going to take a look at the whole property, the roof, the interior, the exterior. They're going to take photos. They're going to write up a report. Then they're going to send that to the desk adjuster. And it's the desk adjuster who approves or denies whether or not they're going to pay for your claim. That's pretty much the nuts and bolts of a claim right there.
And one thing I would like to suggest to people is don't wait till the day after a storm to try to find your policy paperwork to get your policy number, a phone number to contact, because a lot of them have a different way of filing a claim. Some of them do it via phone call. Some of them do it phone call or online. And I know I've also worked with a few carriers where you can only do it online. So I think before a storm hits, I think it's good to kind of investigate the claim process with your particular carrier.
Yeah.
That's one number I don't know is how many actual homeowners insurance companies are in the state of Florida right now. That was something I think we should look up at some point.
Yeah, I think so.
Because there's a lot of insurance companies.
Like right now, we just had 2 hailstorms hit last week.
Yeah.
So obviously it's after the storm, but we have hurricane season coming up.
Yes, June 1st.
That's the best time to start preparing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another item too that they're going to look for that you need to know, especially in a hail claim or dispute, is casualty items. Now, a lot of people don't understand what that language means, and what that is items that are unrelated to the roof that is going to support your claim. So it's really hard to identify hail damage on an older roof. I mean, because it's got a lot of footwork, traction on it.
Yeah.
People, you've had a couple repairs, or people have been on and off the roof for a litany of ideas. But seeing an impact on a shingle or a tile is very hard to find and really hard to identify without getting an engineer out there sometimes.
Yeah.
What they mean by casualty items is your gutters, your screens, your windows, your vehicle. So what they'll do is they'll take chalk and they'll rub it on the bottom of your gutter, and you can see the dents in the gutters, and it shows the amount of hail and where it came from. That's one thing that they're looking for, what direction it came from. If you have screens that have holes in them, or you have window bead that's been cracked, your mailbox has been beat up. So they start looking for casualty items, including the pool screens and other stuff like that. So that helps. That reinforces your claim. Now, if you have none of those casualty items showing any damage, it's a little bit harder to prove that your shingles have been damaged.
Yeah, well, because the casualty items you just explained, they're all either window screens or soft metals. They're gonna get damaged easier than a shingle. So if you have damage on your shingle, or alleged damage on your shingle, but no damage on your casualty items, they're basically going to say, yeah, this isn't hail damage, because these soft metals are going to dent easier than your shingles.
Yes.
So how did your shingles get dented and not your other stuff?
Right. And another thing you got to be aware of as well is the difference between a hail claim and a wind claim. Now, in the state of Florida, you're going to have two separate deductibles. That is because of the strength of hurricanes and the size of the claims during hurricanes. You have a 2% rule for your deductible, and it's going to be higher after a wind event. Now, if you have hail damage, you're going to have a different deductible that you need to look up. And it could be anywhere from $500 to $2,500 to $3,000. The lowest I've seen is $500, but I've seen them up to $2,500, $3,000. It's a lot better than 2% on some of these larger claims.
Well, so yeah, the lowest I've seen is 500. The highest I've seen is 2,500. And my understanding is there's either 500, 1,000, or 2,500. Those are like the three options you have when you get your policy. But when it comes to wind claims, if it's a wind claim without a named storm, it still falls under the standard deductible, 500, 1,000, 2,500. It's named storms that 2% falls under.
That's what it falls under?
Yeah. And they say named storms. Named storms pretty easily means that it's a hurricane. Like Hurricane Irene, Hurricane Andrew. It's got a name to it. But the reason why they say named storm and not hurricane is because it could be a tropical storm too that does it.
Correct.
So if Tropical Storm Irene comes through and blows the roof off, that still falls under the 2%. Now, go ahead and explain what the 2% is. Like, what does that 2% mean?
It's 2% of the value of the claim.
Value of the home.
See, you should explain it.
Yep. So basically, if your house is worth, I think the average house is worth $400,000. If your house is worth $400,000, you have to pay an $8,000 deductible.
Yes.
If your house is worth $1 million, you got to pay a
$20,000
deductible. So it's 2% of the home value.
Okay. Yeah, and that's significant. And that's one thing that we try to help our homeowners with, because after a major event, a lot of people don't have the funding for a $15,000, $8,000 deductible.
Yeah.
So we have to find creative ways to get them financed to help them with that amount. Larger homes, I mean, if you have $1 million home, most likely you have 20 grand in your account.
Probably, yeah.
You can pay that deductible, and they're usually happy to pay it to get their roof replaced. Especially if you're going to have a tile roof and you have a large claim, it's a $100,000 roof. They're willing to pay 20 grand to get that done. What I feel bad for is the retired people that live in a $350,000, $500,000 house is paid off. They've lived there for 20 years.
Yeah,
they're retired.
Fixed income.
Fixed income. Those are usually the clients that we have the most trouble helping them get their deductible. But there are other options out there. But financing is our financing that we provide, any contractor provides. The interest rate isn't great.
It's not great. Yeah, I mean, interest rates across the board right now are terrible. I think they're getting a little better. But yeah, when it comes to construction loans, they're not great.
Yeah, and I personally always tell my homeowners, we can offer you some financing, but if you're part of a credit union, it is better for you to go to your credit union and get something approved and get a much better interest rate and something that you can pay a little bit more economical for the standard homeowner.
Yeah. Our financing is more of a plan B. It's here if you need it, but if you can get a better deal somewhere else, it's more than fine with us.
Yes. Right, but getting a loan for deductible is a lot better than getting a loan for a whole roof.
Whole roof, yeah, exactly. But the trade-off is if you're getting a whole roof at retail, meaning you're paying for it yourself, most people prepare for it. They know it's coming. They start saving up, or maybe they already, they got some time to work their financing in order. When a storm hits, and all of a sudden you got to pay $8,000, $10,000 deductible, you weren't prepared for that.
Especially after like a lot of my clients that we've dealt with in those scenarios, they just did their roof 2 to 4 years ago.
There's that too.
They already bit the bullet. They spent the 20, 30 grand for the new roof, and they were not planning on having to replace the roof again. And they've been, so they're kind of out that money.
Yep.
But that's why we have insurance.
Exactly.
And thank goodness for that. Now, the last couple events that we've had, what was it? Ian and what was the two that hit Tampa?
Oh, Helene and was it Matthew or Mike? No, it wasn't Michael. Was it Matthew? I think it was Matthew. Helene was the one that ripped the roof off of Tropicana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that claim, because we went over there as roofers and we helped with a few roofs, but it wasn't a huge roofing event.
No.
It was more the storm surge and interior claims.
It was.
That pushed the water in the bay and flooded a lot of houses and caused a lot of interior issues. But there wasn't, overall, when I went over there, the new standards on the roofs, they held up pretty well.
They held up pretty well. Well, because, I remember like the 3 hurricanes in 2004, and I also remember Hurricane Irma in 2017. The roofs that were blown off were older roofs, but they were also, because they were older roofs, they were roofs that were installed at the time. I think they had like an 80 mile an hour or maybe 100 mile an hour wind rating.
Yeah.
The new ones have 130 mile an hour wind rating.
Yes.
So when hurricanes hit us now, we're seeing less damage than we used to.
Yeah, they're holding up a lot better.
Holding up a lot better.
And also, a lot of people complain about the 10-year rule with the insurance carriers, and they've been pushing to get these roofs replaced. But I saw the benefit of it after the last couple hurricanes, because all the new roofs were good. They might have lost some cap.
Yeah.
Maybe some ridge cap, maybe a couple hip cap here or there, but there was an outstanding loss on the roof.
And that's what got that. I don't know if it's law or policy. I'm not really sure what it is that they got passed, but it was Hurricane Irma that got it passed, because insurance companies, after paying a crazy amount of money to get roofs replaced, they took a look at all the stats on it, and they found that most, like 80% of the roofs that they had to pay for, were 15 years and older.
Yes.
So that's what made them go, hey, what can we do in the state of Florida that's going to mitigate our losses in the next hurricane? Well, let's make our homeowners, our insureds, let's make them replace their roof after 15 years. That way, when the next hurricane comes, we got a bunch of new roofs in Florida that are not going to blow off.
Yeah, and the reason that they're blowing off after the age of 15 years in the state of Florida, I know that they tell you it's a 30-year roof, but it's called delamination. They're unattaching from themselves over time. They just get brittle, and it's called a brittle test.
Yeah.
And they overlap, and then they're sticky on one, and then they're stucky on the bottom of the other, and they stick together, and they don't pull up. Well, after about 15 years, that tar and all that starts to break down, and those shingles aren't attached to each other anymore. And those are the ones where you see massive uplift of shingles and loss. Mm-hmm. And you've seen it over, how long have you been in roofing?
Let's see, 20 years?
20 years. So you've seen the evolution of the 10 to 15 rule,
Yep.
the policy that they've brought in.
Yeah.
And you can say you've seen it from where it was till it is now.
Yeah, before 2020, I think, is when they passed that new law. Before then, I'll get basically how people knew they needed a new roof was the roof was so old that it was starting to show some leaks. And the ages of those roofs were anywhere between 18 and 22 years old that we were having to replace them. But
Yes.
Nobody was saying you had to replace them. It was basically, you'd have a leak at your house, you'd call a roofer out, and we'd get there and say, it's too old to be fixed, you're going to have to replace it. Now, in 2020, they implemented this 15-year rule, and now all of a sudden, it's not, hey, can you come out and take a look at my roof? I think it's too old. It's, I have to replace my roof in 3 months or else my insurance is going to cancel me.
Yeah. Yeah, that has changed. And you've watched that transition happen.
Mm-hmm. And it was almost overnight. All of a sudden, our calls at the office weren't, hey, can you come take a look at my roof? It turned into, I just got a letter from my insurance company. I need a roof estimate.
Yeah. A few of the things I would want to go over before, because we're getting short on time here, and you and I can talk all day about these items. Few rules, few things I want you to know about. After a storm, we don't like it, but it's going to happen. Door knockers come into your neighborhood, and they invade. Now, I'm not going to say anything bad about door knockers because I've done it before. I don't prefer not to do it. We don't do it as a company. But there are some good companies that door knock. I mean, that's just how they get their business. They're a larger company. They have the manpower to go out there and knock entire neighborhoods, entire areas. There's also some bad ones out there, so you need to be careful. There's a few things that you can do when you see these guys come into your neighborhood, which my wife does for us, is first off, find out if they're a state Florida roofing contractor. Go on sunbiz.org, make sure they're registered with the state, make sure that they are not from another state, because these vultures do come in from other states and try to take roofs from us Florida roofers. Another thing you can do as well is look up their license. Was it DBPR? Department of Business and Professional Regulation.
Yep, that's the one, yep.
Look up, make sure their license is up to date and it's still active. And the last thing you need to do is you need to call their insurance carrier and make sure that their insurance is still active. There's a few things that you can do to protect yourself.
Yeah. I do want to touch on a big thing that we see is deductibles, because we were just talking about it, and waiving deductibles.
Yes, that is a state law in the state of Florida that you are not allowed to waive a deductible or present a gift to a homeowner to do a roof inspection.
Yeah, you're not allowed to trade a deductible for any sort of value, really. It doesn't even have to be monetary. It's just no value. We see that a lot. We'll deal with homeowners that maybe had someone already look at their roof, and they told them, well, my last roofer said he was going to waive the deductible, or he was going to trade the deductible for something.
Yeah.
In the state of Florida, that is prohibited.
Prohibited. We battle against that because we're not willing to put our license or go to jail to do so.
Or get fined. That's another one.
Yeah, you get a lot of fines on that.
Yeah. Waiving deductibles is prohibited. You have to, unfortunately, like we said, you have these 2% deductibles that are $8,000, $10,000, $12,000. And you'll run into some roofing companies that say, oh, well, we can waive that. A lot of them are out of state because they don't realize that in Florida you're not allowed to do that. But yeah, unfortunately, you have to pay your deductible.
Yes, you do. And that also leads you to, you're not allowed to give somebody a gift. So a lot of these door knockers are like, hey, I'm going to give you a gift card. Let me get up and do a roof inspection for you.
Right.
That's illegal as well, and it's a finable offense. You got to look out for these items. You want to make sure you know who's going on your roof. One, because who's going to do your roof is important. And number two, the liability of having somebody go on your roof. Now, I'm not going to hate on any roofing company out there.
No.
That's just not who I am. That's how they do business, and that's fine. But you need to protect yourself as a consumer and know these things. Now, let's say that you do sign with one of these roofing contractors that are from out of state or don't have the proper licensing. What do you do about it? Well, right now you have 3 days to cancel. So if you sign up with a roofer and they said they're going to help you file a claim, that's fine. You signed up with them. Do your homework over the next 3 days. Mm-hmm. Now, in the state of emergency, you have 10 days to cancel that contract.
And I think we're still considered in a state of emergency from Hurricane Helene.
Okay.
Because, our governor, Ron DeSantis, when Helene hit, I think that we were already in a state of emergency from another hurricane. And so he put us in he extended it from Helene. But we're not, like that hurricane hit last year. It's not very, actually it was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2024?
Yeah. Nothing happened last year.
Yeah, that's right. So, but I think we're still technically under that state of emergency, meaning that 10-day cancellation policy still applies.
Yes. Another red flag. The roofer cannot help you file a claim.
Yep.
So only a PA can do that. Somebody that has an adjuster's license can contact your insurance carrier for you and help you file a claim. Don't let a roofer tell you they can help you with their claim, because we're not allowed to, because we're not adjusters. We're not trained for that.
Yeah.
But we can obviously educate you, allow you to file your claim, and argue on your behalf as a professional. Mm-hmm. That is one thing we are allowed to do. Assignment of benefits. They used to be a big thing a few
Used to be a
years
big
ago.
thing, yep.
A lot of roofers would come in and they would get you to sign an assignment of benefits contract. That's no longer allowed in the state of Florida. That was passed in 2023. So the check will go to the homeowner now. It does not go to the homeowner and then the contractor.
Right. Yep. That assignment of benefits allowed for that check to be made out to the homeowner and the contractor. So all the homeowner had to do was basically endorse it and then give it to the contractor.
Yes.
It's not allowed anymore.
Not allowed anymore. So they're going to pay the homeowner directly.
Yep.
So make sure you do your homework before a storm hits. We all pray that it doesn't hit your home, but it's going to happen at some point, owning a home. But do your due diligence. Call your carrier, get your policy number, ask them what it takes to do a claim. Just know the information. Keep that filed away where you can find it easily, because you don't want to look for it while you're having a problem. Now you're stressed out, now you're panicking. Also, take the time to look up some local roofers in your area, get familiar with the name of the roofers, so that way when people are knocking on your door, you know if they're one of your local guys that you want to work with. And just make yourself a little list of a few roofers that you think would work for you.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're one of them.
Hopefully.
So, anything you want to add to this before we close out?
No, I think that's some great information. So definitely make sure you take all this into consideration. It's always good to prepare. Always good to do the homework, because getting a roof is never a fun thing. You used to do kitchen remodels and bathroom remodels. Those are exciting.
Yes.
Roofs are not. But a roof is the most expensive maintenance item on your home. And it's also the thing that protects your home. So it's definitely very, very important that you choose the right contractor, do your due diligence, not just on the contractor, but also your insurance policy, and make sure that you're getting taken care of.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Again, this is brought to you by Platinum Roof Services. We love that you guys are all watching. If you could, go ahead and like us and subscribe and follow us. That helps us spread the word of what we do. And there's more to come. Very exciting.
But there's only one of me.